Hugh, the dockhead wall. Imagine yourself standing at the dockhead wall, looking over, maybe your elbows, arms in the wall, thinking of things. What are your memories of the harbour?
The harbour was really the centre of your life, your activities. When you came out in the morning, the first thing you did was head for the harbour to see what was happening. And in those days we had, I'm talking when I was, say, 6, 7 years of age, towards the end of the war, we had steamboats coming in. We had quite a number of military vessels, naval vessels, RAF vessels. There were 2 stationed in the harbour. And all the time the fishing was going on. It never seemed to stop, no matter what was happening. There were always fishermen. You could spend a happy 2 hours sitting at the harbour just watching what was happening.
Right. Any names you have people that I would know of? Like, I mean, harbour masters, pilots, things like that. Who were the locals doing things like that? Can you remember?
Well, the harbour master, the first harbour master I remember is probably Johnny Doherty. Johnny, that's right. And in fact, his sons took over.
Tommy, was it?
Tommy was the last of the Dohertys to do harbour master, and Jimmy was his elder brother. And I remember Johnny very well. They lived opposite us across the street, an endless supply of fish and crabs and even lobsters, and I suppose the O'Neills and the Flemings were the people you remembered best. All members of the lifeboat. The lifeboat in those days was housed in the lifeboat house itself and launched down the slipway. I remember the coxswain of the lifeboat was a man called Strathday. He was actually a Coast Guard officer. And he was coxswain of the lifeboat for a while.
Did he have a connection with a television presenter?
He did, yes.
Was his name Ernest?
Ernest, he was a son of his.
Same profession as yourself, a journalist?
He was a journalist, yeah. He was. I never met him. But yeah, that was the same family. He and my father were very friendly because they were both ex-Royal Navy.
I see.
And they were very friendly. But he was the coxswain of the lifeboat. We had later on Sam Cunningham was coxswain. He was actually the town clerk in Portrush. McMullen, of course, there was Bobby McMullen, who became second coxswain. I remember there must have been about four McMullens all on the lifeboat at the same time, I would think. All lovely men.
Oh, they were lovely men, the McMullens, Bobby and
They were
Kenneth
gentlemen.
and, Dugas. Tell me about the old dock. What was happening in the old dock whenever you were young?
The old dock was in a pretty poor state of repair actually then, and it was mainly just used for small boats and that kind of thing. We didn't really know the significance of the old dock. We didn't realise that was the original harbour. And indeed, it was many years before the pilgrim steps were pointed out to me along one wall. Tommy Doherty used to talk about the pilgrim steps, and I said, where are these? And he showed them to me.
Yes.
They were better, they were easier to see than I think. They were more prominent. They've worn away quite a bit. And all these little significant detail in the harbour that you didn't realise at the time. I remember along the side of the old dock, the targets, the wooden targets that the RAF used, painted yellow. They were big, like big rafts. It must have been about 30 or 40 feet square, made of wood, painted yellow, and they towed those out to the Skerrie roads.
All right.
And
Okay.
there was actually a bombing run there for the RAF, where they dropped bombs.
I think people are going to ask whenever they hear this, what do you mean by the Skerrie roads? Where's that road? Explain that to us.
Yeah, I always thought it was strange. In fact, it is actually officially the Skerrie roadstead,
I see.
according to Robert Anderson.
Fine.
He always explained that to me, that it was looked upon as like a road almost, you know.
I see.
The Skerrie roads would have been probably the traditional anchorage for vessels coming in.
So it was a very busy harbour.
It was a
whenever
very busy
you were
harbour.
a boy. And
It
young.
was.
Fishermen and various things.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
What was the condition of the old bridge like whenever you were a boy?
It wasn't good then. And by the 1970s, when they took it away, it was dire. I was scared to cross them because of the big gaps in between the slats. The old dock, yes, it was built, I think, around about 1860, when they put in the railway. The railway came to the harbour in the 1860s, and while the engines themselves never crossed the bridge to the harbour, they did. The trucks were towed over with a cable to be loaded with coal, etc.
And was that a horse thing or sort of a winch type thing?
It was a winch.
I see, right, okay.
And up until a few years ago, you still have seen the remnants of the old rails. In fact, I remember Tommy Doherty coming to me in great distress because they had taken away a huge iron beam that had been used by the wagons at that time, and the things happened in Portrush. You know, they were moved in to make improvements, and things suddenly disappeared, and you suddenly realised what you'd lost when it had gone. And one of these was this piece of metal that Tommy was very annoyed about.
Just talking about the harbour, just to finish up on the harbour, Hugh, not in it, talking about it, but what's the oldest building there now, around that area? What would you say would be the oldest building?
Oh, at the harbour. Well, I suppose the structure of the yacht club was probably the oldest. That was originally a huge warehouse. I remember it actually. The sea cadets used to meet there, and that of course became the basis of the present yacht club. The harbour office itself, I'm not too sure exactly when it was built. It might well have predated the warehouse.
Okay.
There was originally a little tower, round tower, that stood behind the harbour office. We all thought it was a castle.
Well, I didn't know what it was. It was just an enormous funnel type thing. coming
Yes, it was fascinating. It was actually a ventilation tunnel for the sewer. When they put them into Portrush, the sewer used to go through the back of the harbour, and if you picked the wrong time, you knew it was there.
Well, did you find the fishermen kind men?
Yes, yeah.
Nice people, or?
They were, without exception, I can remember, all lovely men. And my father, as I say, used to join the group at the Dockhead Wall. And I remember going down, they were always very, very kindly men. Language wasn't always maybe as it should be. My father was a bit worried about that sometimes. But no, people were good, people were kind. There was a war on as well, and we shared things. We were fortunate. My mother, her family were farmers, and we were lucky. We got things from the farm, and we were able to share them with the rest of the street.
Lovely. Such
Nice
lovely
time.
memories, Hugh. Thank you very much.